Most of you know Toyota is the largest car manufacturer in the world and has been for many years. Check this out. Just look at the sheer volume of crossovers, sedans. We have minivans, we have trucks here in the United States, medium crossovers, large Land Cruisers. I mean, we even have fuel cell. We have everything from hybrid, plug-in hybrid. Guys, it's already mind-numbing. But what if I told you that Toyota is launching 15 new models in the near future? Will all of them come to America? Well, in today's video, I'm going to lay it out for you guys, which new models I expect to come to the United States, but we're not going to stop there. There's some drama boiling over at Honda. Well, they just squashed the drama. They just laid off the right-hand man to CEO Mibe-san. Shinji Aoyama just got canned for misappropriate conduct. We'll get a little bit more into that here in a little bit. And then, of course, we have some tariff talks here at the end because, yes, those goalposts seem to be moving every single day. Guys, if you're new to the channel, my name's Kirk. I talk about auto industry news, car news, every single day. So if you enjoy that, make sure you are subscribed. Later this week, I'm going to California for a short Honda event. I'm excited to bring that to you, but also next month, guys, I'm going to have so much Toyota and Lexus content that your heads won't be able to contain it. All right, I'm going to be working probably like 20-hour days. It's going to be nuts. So make sure you subscribe for that. And let's get into the big news. Now, before I get into this right here, I need to preface this, what was happening earlier this year, September 6th, or should I say mid last year, right? My mind's still stuck in 2024 in some ways. Toyota's like, hey, 2026, yeah, we're going to keep building this EV, this EV volume. It's still a growing thing, but we're going to go from 1.5 million EVs down to 1 million. This was in September. Now, we have Toyota coming out with a new figure here, going down to 800,000 next year in 2026. But despite that, look at what Toyota's saying. Hey, volume's not going to be, it's roughly half of what we thought it was going to be. We've said 1.5 million, said Toyota, and now we think it's going to be 800,000 in 2026. But we're going to make more EVs in terms of variety and make them in 5 different countries, the United States being one of them. Now, just last month, when Toyota dropped a ton of bombshells on us, they gave us a lot of insight of what's coming. 2026 and beyond, Toyota will grow its BEV range and deliver on its ambition to reveal 6 new BEV models by the end of 2026. Now, keep in mind, this is Toyota Europe Newsroom. So some of this is a little bit tailored towards Europe, but I will tell you what models are coming for Europe and the United States. Following example set by the new urban cruiser, the CHR Plus. CHR Plus is launching this summer for Europe. It will be launching wintertime, probably after the new year here in the United States. These will adopt a traditional naming strategy to make them familiar and instantly recognizable to customers. CHR. Well, we don't get the CHR anymore. They still make a hybrid version in Turkey and make it for the European market. But we might not see any more BZ4X names. This is great news, okay? So that 3-row EV that's coming out of that plant in Kentucky in 2026, well, it's not going to be called the BZ5X. 99% sure will be called the Highlander EV or the Highlander Plus. Just make it simple. Highlander Plus would make sense if they're using CHR Plus here to be a fully battery electric CHR. In parallel, Toyota will look to introduce technology in other vehicle types, like the Land Cruiser SE concept. Yes, this will likely come to the United States as well in 2026. I detailed this for you guys when I was at the Japan Mobility Show with David Chow from Automotive Press. Go and check my walk around of that Land Cruiser SE. Unfortunately, there was no interiors. It's kind of a clay model, but it's coming, and it looks like a direct competitor against something like a Range Rover Sport, for example, or the full-size Range Rover. Further into the future, Toyota will roll out next-gen BEV technologies, including advanced batteries previewed in 2023. These include units tailored for low cost, those are LFP batteries. The performance and high performance, those are nickel NMC batteries, so nickel, manganese, cobalt. Together, they'll launch the first Toyota solid-state battery. So that will also come likely in 2027, 2028, these solid-state batteries with a whole slew of new battery technologies. So that is exciting, but they kind of just said further into the future. They were supposed to start coming in 2026, but that it might not happen in 2027 because check out what's happening right now. We get more details on what's going on with their BEV strategy. Toyota aims to have about 15 BEV models of its own by the end of 2027, up from 5 they currently have right now. So they're tripling the diversity of EVs. And in terms of volume, I think it's going up like 7-fold or something. Yeah, 7 times the 2024 level. We'll get 1 million BEVs in 2027. So guys, I have a new EV production target for Toyota that I've been working on this for years. And the reason is, well, it changes like every half year. So this is what it was maybe 2-3 years ago. They said, hey, we're going to have by 2026, 1.5 million EVs. Well, now the new estimates are 800,000, so it's a half. And in 2027, they said, hey, we'll have 2 million EVs. Actually, they didn't say that because all they said was 1.5 in 2026, and I just estimated the ramp up because they said in 2030 they would have 3.5 million BEVs. Now, from what we are hearing today, it still looks that they want to have around 30%. Well, anyways, in certain markets, want to have 30% BEV by 2030. I don't think Toyota will get to 3.5 million by 2030. They're hoping to have 1 million by 2027, when previously they thought they're going to have 1.5 million in 2026. So they keep cranking down these estimates. They're still growing. It's still growing, but look, the rate of growth, which we were expecting, like these huge jumps just aren't there anymore. Now, Toyota currently makes EVs just in Japan and China. Production in US is starting in 2026 with at least one model. If you count Lexus, a Lexus variant of it, but they'll probably make a Subaru variant of it as well, probably called the Ascent Plus. I don't know, 3-row EV, but they could be producing more EVs in the United States as well. Not just the Kentucky plant they could do it, but they could also could do it in the Indiana plant. Maybe the Mississippi plant too. Who knows? They got production that they could switch around. So Thailand makes a lot of vehicles for Toyota. We don't get any of them. But the big one in Thailand is the Hilux, and there will be an EV Hilux coming, I believe, in October. That's one of the big reveals. It's not big for our market in the United States, but it's big for the global market. The Thai built Hilux EV. Argentina is also going to build a Hilux EV as well. And so why is Toyota building all these EVs around the world in different places? Well, the same reason they build internal combustion engine vehicles around the world for those same reasons. And it's because of tariffs and trade. It needs to make sense from a monetary point of view. They don't want to get tariffed up the wazoo by bringing in too many vehicles from Japan into the United States or other markets. So they have to start making these vehicles domestically in the regional markets in which they are sold. And you can say this has been accelerated under the recent Trump tariffs. Yes, Toyota building 3-row sport utility vehicles at its Kentucky and Indiana assembly plant starting in 2026. So it was initially announced that Kentucky was building a 3-row EV for Toyota. Then it was announced thereafter that Indiana would also build more 3-row EVs. How many 3-row EVs does Toyota need? It's a bit of a head scratcher. Now, it's possible that Kentucky and Indiana could produce the same EV, 3-row EV, just for increased volume. But that also doesn't make sense to me either. It's just kind of strange why they plan on producing 3-row EVs in 2 different spots. I'd be saying, Kirk, they make the RAV4 in 2 different spots in Canada and the United States, actually 3, including some production that comes in from Japan. They make other models that are made in more than one spot. I get it. But for 3-row EVs, that seems fairly niche-y. Just don't know if the demand is going to be there. But anyways, batteries, of course, are coming from the North Carolina battery plant that is going online this spring, and will be supplying batteries to the new RAV4 redesign. The CHR Plus starts production at the Takaoka plant in September. Again, that vehicle will be here after January. And the company's Tahara plant will begin the next-gen Lexus EV around August 2027. That's been a year postponed. It was supposed to be mid-2026. That has been postponed. Remember also, this 3-row EV made in America was supposed to come in 2025. That has been postponed to 2026. You know, it's convenient that Toyota doesn't get punished, and this is good, right? They don't get punished for keep pushing back deadlines on volume on EVs or when EVs start production. They just curbed for now this battery plant. Where was this at? In Fukuoka, they curbed a battery plant. I'm trying to look at where it's at, but it's somewhere in this article. Yes, here it is. In March, they decided to delay the construction of the EV battery factory in the Fukuoka prefecture, close to the Miyata plant, where they build things like the ES, the RX, things like that. So if we want to go back to this, we are getting an ES EV in 2026. We're getting a Highlander EV. We're getting remember, we have a teaser actually. This came out of the European big reveal last month. This is what I've been told is the BZ4X Touring. Now, they might stick with that naming because people are halfway familiar with this car above. This is the refreshed BZ4X that we're getting sometime this year, probably by summer in the United States. But this one is actually going to be made by Subaru. I like saying it like that. Girls like that. One of my daughters has already coined Subaru as her favorite brand because she likes saying it. And she just learned that it's the official brand of dogs here in the United States. So she's all about saying Subaru. She kind of says it with a W. Anyways, it's cute. Subaru will be building this EV. Think of it as an EV Outback. I think it's going to be awesome. Now, it'll have the same motors more than likely that we see in the newly refreshed BZ4X, in the newly refreshed Solterra and Lexus RZ. So it's just going to be copy and paste from the suppliers of Blue Nexus, which is Aishin and Denso, and that will be going into this vehicle. Think of it as a battery electric Crown Signia. Now, I would be okay if they called this the Signia Plus, or the Crown Signia Plus. I think that would be a cool name for it, but I doubt it. They'll probably just stick with BZ4X Touring. I wouldn't also mind if they called it the Venza Plus. Bring back that Venza nameplate for the United States. But yes, all I know from what I'm hearing is it's called the BZ4X Touring, even though I would like them to call it something different. Here's the Hilux EV. Nothing really. Some people are saying this is the EPU concept that debuted at the Japan Mobility Show in 2023. This is not the same silhouette whatsoever. This is a Hilux silhouette. This is a Hilux BEV starting production in Thailand and eventually Argentina this year. Okay, this is not the electric pickup truck concept or the EPU concept that we saw. It is not. However, this is the concept that debuted alongside the EPU. This is the Land Cruiser SE. This is coming to America 2026. This is coming to America early 2026. All right, and of course, the CHR should be early 2026 as well. BZ4X should be soon, this summer. I would say maybe this fall at the latest. Same thing with the Lexus RZ. So anyways, I'm done talking about Toyota's EVs. Most of you may be like, yes, it's cool that we're getting more models. And I could go down a rabbit hole, guys, talking about what these other 15 models could be. But guys, keep in mind it's globally. So some of them could be produced exclusively for the Chinese market, like the new BZ3X, for example. All right, this car right here, which is $15,000, and it's essentially a RAV4 sized vehicle, $15,000 with 220 miles of range up to like 280 miles of range. That car would smash in the United States. Anyways, Honda, here we go. Shinji Aoyama is no longer with the company. He's been with them since 1986. So since before I was born, this guy's been with Honda. And at an after-hours social network gathering, okay, he was doing some shady things, inappropriate conduct. And I'll let you guys have your own imagination for what happened. But it was so bad enough for him, someone who's been with the company 40 years, to be axed immediately. This guy's second in command. Is this a huge deal? Is this going to affect Honda? In some way, sure, in terms of management. We'll have new management, but I don't think it's going to like change anything about the company. Mibe-san is still there leading the ship. Automakers alter production plans and vehicle pricing as auto tariffs take effect. Now, this is a reoccurring topic. I want to see if there's anything new that has come along in the past day. All right, this is something that needs to be clarified, guys. This is super important, okay? And it's some of you guys were mentioning this in the comments. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. All right, so the tariffs on cars, if they're imported into the United States, regardless where they're from, is 25%. Now, there's an asterisk to that because of the cars made in Mexico and Canada. Those vehicles are not subject to the 25% tariff on their North American made parts. But if they have any foreign parts made outside of Canada, Mexico, and the United States, those will be subject to a 25% tariff. So for example, I mean, it doesn't matter. This also includes cars that are made here in the United States. All right. They're still going to get hit with tariffs from parts that are not made here. All right. For example, like the Ford F-150, 40% of the parts are not made in the United States. How much of those 40% are Canada and Mexico? I'm not sure, but let's say 20% come from outside the United States. So we'll take 20% of a $50,000 pickup truck. I know they can get much more expensive than that. And then you take 0.25 times that. So that's an extra $2,500 that an F-150 could go up in price. And that would be very similar to something like a Volkswagen Jetta that's built in Mexico. All right. Because let's say a large portion of their parts come from outside of North America. I know it's like almost impossible for us to calculate these things. I don't even know if the government knows how to calculate these things. But for example, cars on American-made vehicles made in Mexico, United States, and Canada, they could rise $2,500 to $4,500. And then, of course, imported models from Europe, Asia could be $20,000. Now, okay, let's say we were looking at a $55,000 Lexus or something coming to the United States. Well, you're going to have to add 25%. Now, it's not as simple as that because Toyota and Lexus are not raising prices right now. All right. So an IS is not going to go from 55 to almost 70 grand overnight, even though some brands might be doing stuff like that. Toyota, Lexus, Honda, the Koreans are staying the course for now. Guys, I think in this time period right now where we're at like a big shock with the tariffs, I think this is where most of the negotiations start. Tariffs are in place. Now we can talk because there's skin in the game for all these manufacturers, all these countries. And look at what's happening. It's not just Trump. Trump kind of got the ball rolling. All right. But EU now is knocking on the doors on India and saying, this is not fair. You guys have had 100% import tariffs on the luxury cars. It's like sometimes as high as like 400% import tariffs. No more. We want business down there. You cannot just keep protecting Mahindra and Mahindra forever. You need to let our cars into the market because, well, don't you want to send your products outside? And that's the thing. Like, for example, Suzuki and Toyota are sending like the new urban cruiser built in India to Europe. Okay. And now Europe's like, okay, well, US maybe has a good point. We've been tariffing them more than they've been tariffing us. And they're like, okay, let's follow maybe the United States lead here and start to cutting deals with Europe. And it looks like it's going to happen. India is open to a phased reduction of tariffs to 10% from more than 100%. This is crazy that this is happening this fast. All right. In a perfect world, we wouldn't have any tariffs. It would just be, open market, free market, everyone live in kumbaya, holding hands. But that's not the reality of the world. It's never going to be. But maybe we can get closer to that as these tariff walls and like Thailand's another one, for example. Thailand also has huge tariffs. And that's why so many vehicles and motorcycles are built in Thailand. Huge tariffs to bring production there. Guys, it worked for them. The benefit for India and Thailand, though, is that they have low wages. So they can build cars, motorcycles there cheap. In the United States, okay, raising tariffs, we don't have that cheap labor. So they'll have to find ways to not hire as many people and automate things. That's how I see it, despite high tariffs. Anyways, we'll see what happens. But I just felt like updating you guys. It looks like the trade walls are coming down around cars in India. This is a great thing. American brands will be able to be sold there. Tesla, for example, wants to sell there, regardless of what you think of them. This is a good thing for European and American car industries to have a better shot at selling their products in India with small tariffs, 10% instead of 100 to 400%. Guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more auto news. I'm glad I was able to give you some cool Toyota stuff today. Whether you like EVs or not, it's good to stay on top of it. Guys, here's the thing. EVs for driving around town are the most practical thing. No gas. You charge if you can charge at home. If you can't charge on home, it's a nightmare. But assuming you're charging at home, the problem is these EVs are so compromised in terms of they're really, really good at city driving, doing errands around town. But outside of that, because of the lack of infrastructure, it's a nightmare. Charging still takes too long. Charging ports, they're not very readily available. But driving an EV in town, I love it when I have one to drive my kids to school, doing errands. I just took my kids to school in the Daytona Charger today. Stay tuned for my review for that. And then I did grocery shopping and the SQ6 after that. A little spoiler alert, I like the SQ6 more than that Charger Daytona. And they're both freaking fast as hell. Okay, they're just completely different styled and marketed cars. But anyways, they cost about the same. So that being said, we need more cars like this. We don't have any cars like this. We need affordable EVs. And you might be saying, Kirk, we had them. We had something like the Bolt and people really weren't interested. But it's going to take time. A Bolt EV is a great city car, super efficient. And once you get brands like Toyota, Honda coming out with affordable city EVs in the United States, people are going to start spending money on them. When will that be? I don't know. It seems like all these manufacturers want to do is send $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 vehicles to our market. But guess what? The economy is not able to sustain it really much any longer. We need more affordable cars. Whether that's gas or EV, they need to be more affordable. Most of these manufacturers, their inventory is swelling. It's growing so fast. People are not... they don't have the budget right now to buy cars when the cost of eggs, 2 dozen eggs is $10, $11, right? So it's like, holy heck, let's figure out what we want to spend our money on. Can we make our current car go a little bit further? Anyways, I've been talking too long. I need to shut it down. If you guys enjoyed today's content, I appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed for more talks on cars. I'll come out with another video tomorrow and I'll see you there. Have a great day and peace.